Today I wanted to talk all about hair dryness, what causes your hair to be excessively dry and what things you can do to prevent that. And so to get started, I think it's very important to understand the hair's anatomy. There are three parts to the hair strand, and they are the medulla, the cortex, and the cuticle. The outermost layer of your hair strands is your cuticle. Your cuticle can be thought of like a tile on a roof. And the cuticle, when it's fully healthy, it keeps your hair healthy because it locks in moisture when you hydrate your hair. The medulla and the cortex, those inner layers are also reflective, and so the shine that you see when your hair is very healthy, that shine comes from the medulla and the cortex. Now, when it comes to dryness, it's important to consider your hair's porosity. Some of us have extremely porous hair where perhaps cuticle layers are missing, and it allows all of that water and moisture to leave your hair very quickly, leading to excessive dryness. Some of us have no porosity, and it's hard for our hair to absorb anything. So if your hair is a low porosity, it just means that it's harder for your hair to absorb water and absorb hydration, and that can lead to dryness too. And then if your hair is extremely porous, you can absorb too much water. It can lead to things like hygrofatigue. It can lead to excessive breakage just because of the expansion and quick evaporation of water. So all of us have different hair types, and it all falls into different categories, but nevertheless, dryness can happen to anyone. So dry hair can develop when your hair doesn't get enough moisture, or when it doesn't retain enough moisture. And when that happens, it just reduces the sheen, the shine, and luster from your locks, and your hair will appear to be frizzy and dull. There are a few environmental causes of dry hair as well, things that are hard to avoid. Living in a very hot, dry place, spending a lot of time in the sun or outside where it's very windy, or swimming in chlorinated water leads to extremely dry hair that frizzes easily. There's also causes of dry hair that are related to the way that you care for your hair, such as using too many heat styling tools, washing your hair too often, using shampoos that are harsh and drying, color treating or relaxing, chemically treating your hair, regularly blow drying also can dry your hair out like crazy. And then there are some causes of dryness related to just like health problems, like those who have anorexia tend to have extremely dry hair. Hypothyroidism, where your thyroid does not produce enough of the thyroid hormones. I know so many of our users, they always share with me that dry, brittle hair is one of the very first symptoms they notice before they realize that they have hypothyroidism. So there are many different causes. But basically, if you have dry hair, usually it's just a symptom of hair damage, and so there are plenty of ways to help to moisturize your hair. Now, using the Christen products, so the Extreme Hair Strengthening Oil is our most popular product, and it is for a reason, and that's because the oils protect your hair in a way that your hair is able to retain its moisture. And I highly recommend, if you're not doing this already, after you wash your hair, take just a drop or two to start, and you can add more if you need. Take a drop or two of the hair oil and apply it to your strands, starting with the ends, very lightly touch, just because the oils create a nice protective layer around your strands. So after you've shampooed and washed and your hair is a little bit damp, if you're applying that oil, that dampness, that hydration is able to stay in your strands longer. And that helps to promote your elasticity. It helps to keep your hair in a state that is hydrated, healthy, and extremely shiny and soft. And then you also want to make sure you're not shampooing too much, because especially depending on the type of shampoo that you're using, if you're using something with harsh sulfates, and we've discussed already all of the different kinds of sulfates that there are, Some sulfates are perfectly reasonable, and some of us need to have sulfates, especially if we have oils on our head or oily hair naturally or sebum buildup, because sulfate-free shampoos are good for like an everyday light cleansing, but they're not good to remove hard sebum. And so back to the point, but if you are shampooing every day with something that is very harsh, that's stripping your hair of its natural oils, you want to just be careful, because it would be extremely drying to your hair. It would cause your hair to static and frizz and be more prone to environmental damage, more prone to breakage. So a habit that I like to teach, especially if your hair is thick and coarse and curly and more prone to breakage, is to use moisturizers almost daily if you need them. Some people use moisturizers on their hair once a week or twice a week. I recommend, depending on your hair type, and you can test this, to just use a simple moisturizer every day, or if you're getting your hair wet, to seal that water with an oil. Moisturizers that you can use on your hair, you can use the Chrisin conditioners are very good as leave-in moisturizers. The golden label, you might want to dilute it a little bit, but the pink label is a very thick aloe vera based conditioner that if you want to, you can use that as a leave-in. Very lightly though. If you put it too much, it can become hardened, and after you put a conditioner like that, you want to apply a little bit of oil to it. Now this is specifically for those who have very coarse curly hair. If you have hair like mine that's a little bit more fine, that is not super kinky and curly, and you go and put conditioner on it and seal it with an oil, it's going to look like you put oil in it. It's gonna look heavy. It's not gonna be light and free like this. If you have fine thin hair, don't use the Chrisin conditioners as leave-ins unless you dilute them heavily with water, just because they are thick, they're very rich, and they can weigh your hair down. If your hair is fine and thin, just using water is enough, and you can seal that water with the Chrisin oil, and that will keep the water from evaporating out of your hair too fast. It'll keep the oils will seal in that hydration. The goal of healthy hair growth is not only to stimulate your scalp and allow healthy new hair to grow, but it's also to keep what you already have. You don't want to lose what you've been working many years to grow. So try to keep your hair from getting excessively dry. Use water and use touches of oil to lock in that moisture to protect your hair. And then before you get your hair wet, ever, always use a full oil mask on your hair before you go swimming, before you shampoo, because the oils will seal your cuticles down. Wash your hair with cool water, and if you need to, wash your hair with filtered water. You can do that too. Just do what you can to protect what you have, so that as you're getting healthy new growth, it's not lost. I hope this helped you, and I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you. Bye.